Yeah.
We're ready to roll it up?
Man, I have so many fucking unused pairs of fucking Ranger panties laying around.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we were just talking with Nader over here, and apparently he runs around in his Ranger panties all day.
Yeah.
I've got neighbors that like look at my house all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of worried about it. We got a lady.
They don't look at our house anymore.
Really?
No.
You broke them with that shit, huh?
Yeah. The blinds are shut in every house all around ours.
So with our pad, we've got a couple of open areas where we can't shut blinds. So I've got to be modest. Nobody wants to see that stuff. So
No, we got the pool back there, and so like if the kids aren't home,
yeah,
the clothes aren't home.
All
That's
right.
funny.
It's a nudist colony. I'm digging it, man.
It's great.
The show is on, man.
That's back when 300-pound Todd should have come over. Look at this guy.
Oh, God. I'm trying to not picture this.
Yeah, everybody is. It's okay.
You're pushing all the water out of the pool.
Exactly.
Well, I know one way to get that vision out of my mind is I think I'm just going to do some time travel.
You should. If you could time travel back and erase that, you would, wouldn't you?
That just means we can start all over again.
Exactly.
Right.
I'd just run it again. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Speaking of time travel, our buddy Art Bell a few years ago did some interesting topics.
Quite a while ago, he had a radio show called America Coast to Coast.
Right.
That got a lot of people, drunks, truck drivers, and insomniacs through their day.
So I was a hotshot driver at the time that this was on, and I used to turn him on all the time because I'd have to make these long trips to Louisiana at night. So the first thing I do is put Art Bell on. I think he came on 740 in Houston. And I would pop that guy on, and he had some of the best topics. It was the funniest crap you will ever listen to. And what made it great is everybody on the other end of the phone of Art Bell was dead serious.
Oh, hell yeah. They were.
They believed it.
An easy listening voice, though.
He did. He had a good radio voice. He kept you awake. He didn't have a voice that would put you to sleep. I think he knew this. I think he knew what his audience, the guy was smart. He knew what his audience was.
Well, he knew how to play into them, too, because he would
did.
actually lead them.
He would.
He would sit there and agree with them and try to learn more about them. And it's funny is the one that he got a lot of phone calls on was time travel.
Right.
And he had a couple guys. We're going to talk about a couple of those guys today.
Right.
And he had one guy. His name was Mike. SoCal Mike, I'm going to call him.
Yep.
He called in on September 11th, 1997, which was an interesting...
Pay attention to that date, folks.
Yeah,
it's important.
It's important because it's coming up, right?
There's a test at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I thought it was funny is that he claimed to be a time-traveling pilot for the military. And he was out of Area 51.
Time Pilot was a great game, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a great... There was a game where you flew a jet and it shot up biplanes. And
so
then
when did it come out?
1984.
Okay, so here we go.
Yes.
Is that the one where you started out as like a biplane and you just...
No, you were always the jet and you'd blow biplanes up and then you'd blow Zeros up and then helicopters.
Oh, yeah.
So it progressed through. It was great.
Yeah,
they would fit with this guy's persona, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, when you said SoCal, I'm thinking there's a little herb involved.
Yeah, probably.
You know, probably a lot of no sleep.
Hey, man.
This is what insomniacs come up with.
Hey, man, I was flying a plane, man.
So he called...
all my statements begin with, hey, man.
Hey, man.
His mode of transportation, he had a very complicated name for it. It was called a non-linear dimensional transportation vehicle. I was like, whoa. And he claims that it's a reverse-engineered vehicle built by the U.S. government in Area 51.
Right.
Okay.
And it only went forward. That's what it...
Well, it went forward, but he can only come back a year or two in reverse.
It was difficult to go backwards.
Yeah, the backwards part wasn't working so good. So what he would do was he would take these leaps in time and then sneak back to leave himself phone messages. He'd go to a payphone, leave a message, or call Art Bell.
Call Art Bell, so he could go back and play it again. He could get the transcript.
You know, and this is just crazy because you hear everybody wants to believe in time travel,
right? And
back in the day when he was doing this, there were several shows about time travel. You had Quantum Leap. If you remember that Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula, that was a great
Scott Bakula.
That was a great series that was out there.
So sexy.
Yeah, what was it? Dean Stockwell or John Stockwell or whoever it was
Dean. I think it was Dean.
Yeah, Dean was his kind of his boss.
Yeah,
Ziggy, I think his name was. But he went into different time periods. Well, this guy claims to have been traveling forward.
Right.
And he's claiming that he was part of several military operations that took him to 2001.
Right.
And he was part of he said there was agreeable and disagreeable pilots, that were recruited into this, where some of them were reluctantly, either abducted by the government or probed by aliens,
Right.
that were forced to do these suicide missions.
He got off into the more Art Bell stuff. That was
Yeah.
the best part of it. It
Big
wasn't
time.
just time travel. It ended
Right.
up with aliens and all this other goodness.
So he got specific with him, and he said, "Look, I was in 2 operations that I can recall. The first one was Operation Black Opera
and
in
then
2001,
Black Swan.
and then the second was Black Swan in
I saw
2002.
Black Swan.
Yeah, is
Yeah,
that
this
crazy
is-
bitch?
Yeah,
It fought herself?
Yeah.
yeah, that's the one.
That's,
Awesome.
When you say it like that with kind of a New York snap to
Yeah,
it, like
yeah.
that crazy
Hey,
bitch.
crazy
That
bitch.
crazy bitch.
So,
Hey, oh, look out there, the crazy bitch. Anyway.
so yeah, beaming back to the
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah, sorry. Sometimes we go off track like that.
No,
Anyway,
it's
going
good.
back, going back.
It's all good. So he really didn't talk a whole lot about specifics. He was getting into the fact that he was saying that the U.S. government was wanting to wipe out large population centers in the U.S. so that those that were left would be easier to control. Then all of a sudden, there was a loss of transmission signal. The Art Bell show was white noise.
Static.
And then when it came back, they tried to keep the show going, and then static again.
Yeah.
So it was really funny because you didn't hear much of this Mike from SoCal
Yeah.
after that. And he had made a frantic call into the Art Bell show saying that he was being pursued by a group of men with black vehicles wearing black suits.
Awesome.
Which is funny when you listen to this dude. He named the 9/11 attacks in New York, basically, right? And then he talked about the Men in Black, which would be the movie chasing guys from. I mean,
I'm being pursued
it's
by a bunch of guys in a telephone
It's kind of
booth.
weird how the parallel parallel universes follow.
Scott Bakula's trying to kill me. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
because he's talking about traveling. He's saying that time travel works parallel.
Yeah.
So you can literally be parallel of a timeline viewing historical events in and out. I just thought it was funny because then there was another guy. What's the other guy's name? John Tyner? Or something?
Tyner, something like that. He came on shortly after this one, and this guy worked part-time for the power company out in California.
Right.
And so he had gone along in his career path and collected components. And he believed that his theory entailed him being electrocuted into the future.
Right.
So he'd bought all these transformers and had them all hooked up at his house in his garage.
So so he was being electrocuted as a
1.51 gigawatts or whatever it was, right?
propelled. Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, he was going to shock himself into the future. He'd made this big ring, and this ring was going to take him into the future. So he had generated 1.21 gigawatts or whatever it is that sent the DeLorean back. And
Did he live?
nobody knows. So Art had him live on the show like 2 seconds before liftoff, and the Art Bell show went blank again.
I'm
And there was
pretty
nothing but this
thinking-
ringtone
I'm going to
for a
consult some
long time.
electricians on that.
Exactly.
You know, that guy's a clever genius, that Art Bell.
Oh, totally.
You know, I could just see him, a group much like ours. Yeah, a group much like ours, sitting around, getting stoned, maybe drinking some beer, sharing some stories. Go, you know what? You got a radio show, right, man?
Yeah.
How about if I call in?
Yeah.
And we get this shit. I mean, because when you're driving,
Isn't that what we do
That's
here?
exactly what I was
I was
thinking.
gonna say.
Yeah.
yeah.
There you
So
go.
we're kind of we're the new Art Bells of the world here, you know?
Exactly.
But it's funny because like you said earlier, when you're driving late at night,
Yeah.
you can't turn that shit off.
Yeah.
I found myself sitting up front of a gas pump for 5 minutes waiting for the story to finish before I'd go pump gas and get back in my car.
Exactly. That's what we used to do. Or I'd sit and wait and be like, I'm not getting out of the truck until I finish hearing
That
this.
guy had some crazy shit. Well, I'll tell
Crazy.
you what. I know somebody that wished they knew a time traveler.
Our buddy Epstein. I bet
Yeah.
he wishes he could go back in time.
Yeah, you know, when you said
No.
it, I'd hear a Cher singing that song, "If I Can Turn
Turn
Back."
back time.
The thing about Epstein and time travel
Yeah.
is he's probably had so many experiences in his life. I would be afraid of what things that he would want to time travel back to.
Exactly. You know where he's going. So
Well, you know, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about some of the shit they found in his house, and you know, it's one of those things to where we only heard of 1 or 2 homes, but apparently this guy's got a house in New Mexico.
Yeah.
He's got an island.
well, that was
compound.
his tie to Bill Richardson right there.
Yeah, there you had a place in New Mexico.
okay.
Well,
Yeah.
and also the sex trade.
Exactly.
Because if you remember those veterans that that come across that,
It's a hard drive or something, wasn't it?
we were watching some veterans that were doing real live videos on YouTube about following the sex trade
Right, yeah.
into New Mexico.
Oh.
and they were calling for backup.
So according to the dark web, New Mexico is like the second highest consumer of sex slaves.
Yeah, well, that's where they bring them in because look at it, it's desolate.
So going back to when we used to do the stuff in the S2 is we would look at these maps of. So you have like the Silk Road. Silk Road is for drugs. Well, there's a Silk Road also for bringing sex trade into ports of entry for the U.S. So New Mexico, Texas, Arizona,
all the desolate parts where you can just go through without.
And depending on what the product was dependent on the route.
Okay,
so,
sure, because ease of travel. So when you have people on feet, you can probably make them go through rougher terrain. I would think, you know, and then because that's going to be your longest investment of time.
That and lack of law enforcement.
Breathing,
You're looking for
eating,
a lack
sleeping. Well, look at what people are getting caught smuggling in now. I mean, trucks, they're stuffing watermelons with this shit. I mean, so that's going to be the least likely.
Right.
Because sometimes the best way is just send it through the most obvious place. But it's just amazing to watch all this shit come loose on Epstein now because they're talking about his butler.
Right.
So his butler's dead.
Yep.
Right. The guy was trying to sell information to the feds. This is where he messed up. He decided he had journal entries. He used the dude that took care of the house, cleaned the sex toys.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, how would you
wash
have
my
to have,
dildos?
how'd you have to have that job? God. So can you imagine the shit
No.
that dude's seen?
No, I would just. There's not enough money. I would not watch.
Boss, I
anybody's.
found something that Ajax will not remove.
Take off. But does my health care cover this shit?
Oh my God!
Yeah, so this guy is trying to sell information to the feds.
Yeah,
and it's been kind of going for quite a while.
Yeah,
and now he's dead.
Well, it's funny that we saw where they dropped the Epstein case. They and I'm not sure I quite understand that. If you're dead, what do? They haul you before the court, and zombie Epstein's kind of standing there all gangly.
It's like the
dismissed.
It's
Weekend at Bernie's.
Beating the dead horse punishments.
So there was did y'all ever watch The Untouchables with Kevin Costner?
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay, so there was a movie where Kevin Costner played Elliot Ness. And they were going after Frank Nitti, and De Niro played...
he played Capone.
Al Capone. And so they're sitting in a courtroom, and he was sitting there going, why is Capone smiling? We got his ass.
Yeah.
Come to find out, Capone had paid all the jury panelists and most of the judges off. So Costner got the...
makes him throw the jury out.
Well, yeah, he makes him throw the jury out, and the judge wasn't going to do it.
Right.
So he said, well, I have a list of judges and jury on this list. And he led the judge... He didn't say the judge...
Basically said he was going to go public with it.
He was going to go public with it, so the judge decided to comply, and that's when they got Capone, according to the story. So I got to imagine that's what the Epstein dismissal was like.
Probably pretty close,
because you get a lot of these... Because,
But the opposite of that, Capone gets away with it.
Well, when you're running highly illegal operations, not every law enforcement officer would have to be complicit for that not to be picked up on the radar.
Yeah,
if you think about
somebody somewhere would have to speak.
Yeah, somebody somewhere has to be the interference for this big of a program, because you're moving people past Secret Service, security details. You're moving people. You got high profile public figures moving in and out of property that has private security.
Yeah.
And so you've got to understand, when you take those jobs, you've got to understand the ramification of you fucking up. So the payoffs are huge in those programs, and they go deep. And they go all the way up through the judiciary into the legislature. And so when you have a list like his that's playing the Hollywood, playing the politicians and global, because they were even talking about the French prime minister, or a rich French guy giving him two French girls, 14-year-old girls for his birthday.
Well, and then you got Prince Harry that's over there. We got photos where he's got arms around those girls and stuff.
Is Andrew?
Was it Harry on it? Okay,
Andrew.
I knew it was one of them.
Yep.
That's got to look bad.
So I mean, this
he's
guy,
got a history.
Yeah, he does.
So.
For sure, and it really puts a lot of things together. So you look at this. You look at the Lolita Express. There was a thing where Bill Clinton claimed to never... What's the girl's name? Rachel Ratcliffe?
Yeah.
And he says, I've never been on that plane. I don't even know Rachel Ratcliffe. And there's a photograph
of him
on the plane with this young girl named Rachel Ratcliffe.
Well, what is your definition of with?
Yeah.
But this is...
I did not have intercourse with that woman.
Yeah.
What exactly is?
Exactly.
So we got to thinking, it'd be kind of fun if we did a parody of the whole Epstein the pedophile island. You know where you have the little dude come out, the plane.
Yeah.
The plane. So we were thinking, what kind of plane would it be? So we decided to take and mash up Pedophile Island with the remake of Top Gun.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So if you can just
If you can stick with us for this
stick
stretch, it's
with
going
us
to take
for
a
a little
while
bit,
for us to get here.
because we were at lunch the other day and we said, you know what, this would make a great movie.
Well, it started off with Epstein's penthouse getting tomahawked.
Yes, yeah, I got tomahawk. So what we decided was
Tomahawk cruised missiles.
Cruise missiles.
See there?
'cause-
See how this works?
So we got to have Tom Cruise in the movie, right? So we were looking at like, okay, let's start with the concept. We decided, okay, we'll take the two movies, put them together. How do you fund it? So I was thinking Scientology.
Scientology. Go to the
They got a
Scientology card
shitload
every
of money.
time.
A lot of these people are probably in that program, right?
Oh, yeah.
You got Tom Cruise. He's the top dude with the big dinner plate on his chest,
Right.
right?
And then you got John Travolta out there. You'd
Yeah.
have to work him in.
Travolta's a
He
pilot.
could rip his face off or something. Yeah, he could fly. He could fly
Travolta's
wingman.
a pilot.
Since
so
you
that's-
ejected Goose into the glass last time around.
the Lexan pancake.
The Lexan
Because
pancake.
I think two movies where you portray a pilot basically makes you a pilot.
There you go.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, no, he really does fly 727. He flies. He owns a 727.
Yeah.
He's actually
Travolta, yeah.
he's actually commercial rated.
Oh, that's right. I have
Yeah,
seen that.
Travolta's commercial
They
rated.
got the picture of him hanging out the cockpit window with
Yeah.
the hat on and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, waving.
At 400 miles an hour.
Yeah.
married to one of the. Well, my hair. Don't mess up my hair.
Yeah.
He's married to one of the most beautiful women on the planet.
Oh,
I think
Kelly
Preston
Preston
is
now-
just
freaking
Stone Cold Fox.
fine.
Yeah.
Kelly Preston, for me, was in Jerry Maguire.
Yes.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
Don't ever stop.
When
And it's
she
like,
is
oh
when
my
she is
God.
pinned up against that
Yeah.
goddamn book
Right.
that bookcase,
Yeah.
I was like,
No, she's on top of him.
No.
No, she has him up on the book.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she is fucking riding him.
Yeah, she ain't letting up.
like a playground, like playground equipment.
It's like one of them horses that spring
I was
around.
like, motherfucker.
Yeah, that
Anyway,
was.
virgin into Jerry Maguire there.
And she says she wants to be with another woman with you
Right at the same time.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty bizarre moment in movie history. But yeah, so that's the girl.
That's kind of bizarre. I like.
No,
man.
I'm telling you.
So you'd have to work her into the script.
Yeah, so she had to be worked into it. So I was thinking, okay, so Scientology's going to fund it, and the top fundraiser would get to jump on Oprah's couch with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, they could jump up and down and scream about
I mean,
aspirin.
why not? Relive a famous Hollywood moment. You know?
That's how it could end. They could be in Epstein's penthouse jumping
Right.
up and down on the couch.
So let's go ahead and flesh out the rest of the cast. I'm thinking Bill Clinton would play the commander-in-chief, and we would call the operation Stain Eraser.
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Operation Stain Eraser.
Operation Blue Dress.
Right. And then so what would happen was we would have Oprah Winfrey playing the Secretary of State who would approve the strike
Exactly.
on Operation Blue Dress.
And she would.
Yeah.
Airstrike for you. Airstrike for you. Airstrike for you.
Because he has 5 compounds.
Exactly.
Right?
You'd have to blow a bunch of them.
So
up.
you'd have to blow a bunch of them. So we got that
Yeah.
going. So we get Cruz, we got Travolta, we got Kelly Preston, we got Clinton. So who else would we put in this movie?
So you'd have to have John McAfee in there.
Yeah.
Because he's the less
yeah.
evil billionaire that
Yeah.
has sex with
He's the balance.
of age women.
Yeah.
But he's like almost the same guy.
But he'll kill you over some cocaine.
But yeah, he's just like way less pedophilia,
Right.
You know,
No,
so he
yeah,
can
he's
come
like-
in and talk about how to do this whole operation right because
Exactly.
he's
Right.
He's the real brains at the end of it. You
Yeah,
can get to
yeah.
him, and he's like the real. He's the deep state.
He's like the angel scumbag.
exactly.
So okay, so we have the movie set. So the operation basically is going to be an off-book airstrike, okay, funded by the Scientologists on all the Epstein compounds, and they're going to use Tomahawk cruise missiles to do it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got this movie. Say we're greenlit, right?
Right.
We start filming it. How do we work Goose into this? You
Well,
can't do this movie
Okay,
without
so
Goose.
Goose could be Leah Remini could be Goose's sister, and she comes back into it. Now she's the cop. She's the FBI agent that's going to unravel this all.
Perfect.
I was like, what if you throw a ghost twist to it?
You
Where
could.
Where his head's
cha-
in the corner,
Yeah.
the clouds.
He channels through somebody else.
And Lisa, what's her name, could be sitting there. Remini could be sitting there, and she could see his ghost, and it'd be, "Talk to me, Goose. Talk to me, Goose.
Oh, that's funny. It'd be like,
Talk to me, Doug."
do it. Don't do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Yeah, I can see that happening. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I think that we need to press this. We need to
Yeah.
get it greenlit. We need to call Damon
GoFundMe.
and,
Or just get lit, one of the two.
we need to call
GoFundMe.
we need to call Damon and Affleck and do their whole greenlit show on HBO.
Right on.
I think this would be great viewing.
Well, and then you could end the show with them killing everybody as angels. They could come down from the sky with swords and wipe everybody out at
and
the end.
entertainment continues.
Exactly.
There you go. And I tell you, I think who we should get to be our spokesman would be Dave Chappelle.
Oh, definitely.
He's got to do this for us.
He could do the monologue at the end like Morgan Freeman normally would. You get Chappelle in there. Look, bitches, you know. I done told you bitches 20 times to quit tomahawking people.
That would be funny. That'd be fun to watch.
That would actually be funny as shit.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
I think I wrapped it up nicely there.
Yeah, I think you did too.